Down. Let's bring in the panel for more insight. Fred Fleitz, Senior Vice President of the Center for Security Policy and a former CIA analyst. Anthony Ruggiero, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy and a former State Department official. And Jason Beardsley, a former Special Operations Counterterrorism operative. Fred, the president unpacked a lot there, and Blake gave it to us, the bullet points here. He also said in North Korea, hopefully it'll all work out. It would have been a lot easier to solve this years ago, but here we are. What do you expect to happen between now and Monday morning?
Well, I think we've had a very interesting week. We had sanctions passed last weekend. And, you know, whenever these sanctions pass, everybody congratulates themselves. North Korea cheats on them, and then China cheats on them. But China actually seems to be motivated to take some action. For example, there was a Wall Street Journal article today. The headline was, "Beijing struggles to avert Korea conflict." I don't know that that's a game changer, but I'm encouraged that instead of planning on cheating on these sanctions, that China may finally be motivated to take some of the steps it has long refused to take because it knows from President Trump how seriously he takes this conflict.
Yeah, and Anthony, a lot of people are saying that this rhetoric, this escalating and strong rhetoric that we're hearing from the president over and over again, is really a message. It's theater for Beijing to strong-arm them, to compel them to do more. He even, Anthony, just said that they're considering additional sanctions on North Korea. Those sanctions would be, quote, as strong as they get. What could they still do?
Well, there's a lot they can do. I think there's a misnomer that people think that North Korea is the most sanctioned country in the world. They are not. When it comes to the Iran-style sanctions that we had against Iran, there's a lot more that can be done. I think Fred's right that China is the problem here. Chinese banks, Chinese companies, Chinese individuals are the ones facilitating North Korea's sanctions evasion. And I hope that the president is talking about sanctions against China because I'm concerned that the resolution that passed was a Chinese attempt to just divert attention from them.
If you look at what Donald Trump has done in the 6 months he's been in office, Jason, first he met nicely with the Chinese president in Florida. Then he saw them get support for these sanctions against North Korea. Then he hosted India, an adversary to China, at the White House. These small moves suggesting that the president is really going after China. But when is China going to play ball here and do something about North Korea?
You know, I think that's great to point out. Don't forget, they've also opened up a dialogue on the back channel through New York to make sure that there is some kind of talk going on behind the scenes. When is China going to get serious? Well, in their long-term interest, you know, what they want is they want to control the manufacturing on the peninsula. There's a lot of manufacturing competition in South Korea. They don't want to come face-to-face with that. They need a little bit of a carrot and a stick. This is a long play for them. Remember, Russia's involved, too. They got the Vladivostok port just north on the peninsula, so they don't want their shipping lanes interrupted. This involves both, really all three players in the region. And as you point out, and as your two guests point out, you know, there's a lot of theater, there's a lot of bellicosity, but after all that, these people are talking on the backside, and they're all looking for kind of a middle ground resolution. I think we'll get there.
All right, I hope we do. We saw yesterday the president extended somewhat of an olive branch to China, saying, maybe we can talk about trade and other stuff if you help us with North Korea. All right, gentlemen, Anthony, Jason, Fred, thank you so much for your time. We have to take a quick break right now, but we will be right back.